seeing something.
Are you ready?
Okay, we're live. We are live now. If you guys are watching the YouTube, it's delayed.
It's delayed. That's why.
Oh.
Well, I'm still watching the video. Look how cool
That's what
this
I'm
is.
saying. I'm watching it too.
So people have seen it already, but now Spencer and
we're
I
still
are
enjoying it because it's just started on our end.
Oh,
Gotcha.
now I see our feed, and I'm going to have to shut that off because that's incredibly distracting.
Look at that! Look, yeah, Jesse's got the little germ thing above his. That's cute.
Yeah. Per request.
That was requested.
Had a little bit of the Rona, as they say.
So let's dig right into it.
Bubbles
you
and
gotta
Bikes.
Tell us.
This is what I got.
You gotta tell us what happened. Oh, what do you got?
Aha flavor.
Oh, I've never even seen that.
Yeah,
I've got the blackberry bubbly right now.
You guys, I went to the store just to buy LaCroix. I thought we were like unofficially sponsored by.
Well, I got that too.
Oh, okay. Pamplemousse.
That's right.
Yeah, let me crack one of these bubblies open, and then I'll tell you everything I know. Thanks for having me.
About the Rona.
Yeah. Last time I saw you was in Colorado.
That's right.
At the real world
KTM rally
version in the Airbnb.
That's right. We're gonna have to film that this year. We just set up a couple, GoPros in the corner of every room. You catch Chris like breaking his toe and stuff. We'd have all the drama.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have Nick like drinking whiskey at 4:00 in the morning or whatever Nick does.
Wearing
a cowboy
hat. just like the mess, just moving across the apartment, just sleeping bags, pillows, and dirt. Yeah,
right.
I have to say the garage was very impressive because it was just
was like the nicest part.
No, there were so many beautiful bikes in there, like 790s, 640, 701. My bike. There was just it was like I felt like I was shopping. Like, ooh, I'll take one of those and one of those. It was cool.
And there was little like gear rack holders for all people's skiing stuff or whatever. So we all had our little cubby holes for our helmets and our riding gear. It was really cute. It's exactly what the real world of ADV would look like.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. There'd be so much drama, man. So much drama.
Like, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I don't care that it's 8:30. Fuck off.
Yeah, everybody went to bed super early.
Yeah. And then, the biggest drama is, the traffic jam at every bathroom before everybody's trying to get geared up. They just want to go take a shit before we get up.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows the fastest way to have to take a shit is to get fully geared up. To put on motocross boots and knee braces and ready to go.
Yeah. For those who are just tuning in, we were on testing the call about 5 minutes before starting streaming, and that was the conversation that the topic for, I think probably for a later week was, going in the woods. Like, how do you manage that? What tools do you bring and strategies?
Look at Chris. Chris is like, I told you guys, don't bring this back. Don't circle this back. God damn it.
Pause it. Yeah. Well, my summary with that was that you didn't really have to plan for it; it just happens. So there's not really any strategy. Nature finds a way for sure.
Mm-hmm. Clever girl.
So I put a little virus on your video today, Jesse, because
thanks.
We wanted to have you on earlier, but you were sick with the virus.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
I'm doing way better now. So this is week 5 since the symptoms started, and I feel like last Sunday I kind of turned a corner for the better. You might see me muting my microphone to cough every once in a while, like I'm going to do right now. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Yeah, man, like I started getting like a weird cough about 4 days after we started the self-isolation here in Oregon, and didn't really think much of it because it was just like not a big deal. Trees were all blooming, you could see the pollen flying in the air. I'm like, yeah, it's allergies or something. And then I did the one thing that I didn't want to do, that nobody wants to do during a global pandemic, which is to spike a fever. So about a week after the cough, I was like feeling the chills, and fever went up, and I was like, oh, that's probably not good. Because I get a flu shot every year, so it was highly unlikely that it was the flu. And yeah, so fever for like 4 days, headache, like all the like classic flu symptoms, and then it went away for a week, and I just had the cough, and I felt fine. And then the fever came back, and that's when I went to the doctor, and they stuck like a 2-foot pipe into my nose. It felt like for the official test. I was like,
I've heard that it's like incredibly intrusive.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't know. Like, I always imagine like the nasal canal going up for some reason, but it actually goes basically straight back. So it's like a Q-tip that's about that long, and it goes past any point anything should go in your nose, and like tickles kind of like the back of your throat, and your eyes are watering. Pulled it out, and I think it had like brain matter on it, and then did the other nostril. Yeah, I told the doctor, I was like, you can save the test for someone who might need it, and he's like, yeah, I think we should probably do it on you. And like 2 days later, I got the phone call, and they're like, yeah, you're positive for COVID, and here's what to do. So I was like 2.5 weeks into it at that point. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like, it's not getting worse. By and large, the symptoms were mild in the grand scheme of like what you hear about and read about. Like, I didn't have any trouble breathing. I didn't have any chest pain or anything. So went another week, and then the fever came back again, and that's when I got worried. So I went back to the doctor, and my doctor's like, he was worried. He's like, I think you're developing a viral pneumonia. So let's, get another chest X-ray. I'd had 2 at that point, and X-ray came back sort of unclear, and then he's like, get a pulse oximeter, watch your O2 levels. If it drops below a certain threshold, go to the ER. I'm like, oh man, this is getting heavy. So like a day and a half, I just like laid on the couch, watching my O2 levels kind of like drop. And I'm like, oh, this feels like someone's going to push me off a cliff, and I'm going to end up, a statistic in a, some medical journal somewhere. But like, that's the scariest part about it, is there's nothing you can do. Like, you can go to the hospital, and they'll, give you oxygen and a ventilator if you need it. So, you can treat the symptoms, but there's not like a, hey, take this pill and you'll feel better in the morning kind of a thing. About a couple of days after that, my doctor called me up, and he's asking me about my O2 levels and how I was feeling. And he's like, I think you should go to the ER out of an abundance of caution and get a CT scan of your lungs. And so I went to the ER, which was kind of weird because it made it all very real at that point. It was like, okay, you're going to go to the ER, and there's a possibility you might not come back today from the ER.
Weren't you just there like a couple weeks ago?
I was there in January.
Yeah.
So I pulled out my frequent flyer card, and they punched it. After like 4 visits, I think you get a free burrito or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there in January for the motorcycle crash, which we can talk about as well. Um, but yeah, so the CT scan, it didn't happen because they're like, well, it doesn't change the care we would give you, so we'll just give you a chest X-ray again. And like I was confirmed positive, so like they had me locked in this room, and for the X-ray, they had a person in like the hazmat suit come in and stick the thing behind my back, and they brought a portable X-ray machine up to the window and just like shot X-rays into the room through the wall. It was kind of amazing. I'm like, shouldn't I get like some protective? Just no, you're bathing in X-rays right now. So yeah, that's kind of the long version of it. Is that for me, the symptoms were manageable, terribly uncomfortable, but there's so much uncertainty with it, and it seems to go on forever. It's like a roller coaster because you feel great one day, and then the next day you've got a fever and like you're having flu symptoms again, and not really knowing like what the lungs are doing. So, hey, I'm here now.
Thank God.
Yeah, that is gnarly. That it just kept coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And it
part
looks
of
like
it-
as soon as you got back, you started like building a gas tank.
Yeah, I did. Yes. So, yes, I got right back into my dorky, geeky little garage projects. The subframe of the Husaberg is hollow, and it's made from the same material as the fuel tank. So I've got some fuel-resistant epoxy, and I'm gluing up all the holes on it, and I plumbed it, and I'm just waiting for. Actually, you know what? It just came, sitting on my desk. We're just gonna turn this into like one of those opening videos.
Unboxing.
Yeah, unboxing video.
Wow, live unboxing. This is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So this
We're
thing-
pivoting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we just went right off of the corona. Nobody wants to hear about sickness and sadness. So I think I'm gonna do drill a hole in the back and glue this in, so I can add fuel a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see.
We'll see. It might catch on fire. It might leak.
It
You know.
fully might go up in a ball of flames. Yeah, that is on the spectrum of possibility for sure.
Are you leaving them like are you leaving it connected to your primary tank, or is there like are you using like a petcock to like drain it into your primary tank, or what's the strategy?
It'll be connected, plumbed from like the bottom of the subframe to the bottom of the main tank. So it should fill. It's vented, so it should fill and drain at the same rate. But well, yeah, I don't know.
It's always a mystery.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
surprised you
good
didn't try
job,
printing
Rico.
one.
Yeah. Well,
Because
so,
you do that too. Yeah, it's a freaking 3D printing machine. Do you own a 3D printing machine?
I do. Yeah, I bought one last Christmas. A little Christmas gift to me. Merry Christmas, Jesse. I've been sort of obsessed with like the front end of motorcycles for a long time, because it seems like it's really, I don't know, it's hard to do it right. There's a lot of really pretty bikes out there, and there's a lot of really ugly motorcycles. And I don't know, I just found myself having like really strong opinions on what the front of a bike should look like. And so I'm like, you know what? I could probably make something. So yeah, I bought a 3D printer and have been teaching myself how to use Fusion 360. It's an AutoCAD software, and that's been kind of a learning process. Not like I don't have any background in design or engineering or anything like that. Actually, Spencer, I should probably pick your brain about some of the stuff that I'm doing. See if I'm structurally sound on some of this stuff.
Wrong kind of engineer. I'm not that kind of engineer.
You're the kind that
I'm
drives
the,
the
I'm
train.
no, I'm the kind that like actually rebuilds engines and stuff.
Mm. Well, I think there could be some crossover there.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
when my bike is exploding in a ball of flames, you can be like, yeah, you did something wrong.
I think that's a common misconception of like what I do, because people always do that on like trailside fixes. They're always trying to like explain to me like what's happening with the bike or some sort of problem or something. And I never really correct people or tell them or whatever, but it's always a pretty funny experience. I'm like, that's good sentiment. It's great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so what you work on engines then, yeah? Like
Yeah, it's
little ones?
basically like Homer Simpson. You know how he sits in the control room and he like watches. That's what I do, except on ships.
Okay.
And so I monitor the stuff, and when the stuff breaks, I fix the stuff.
Well, you gotta, yeah. So you have to know how all of it works in order to be able to fix it, then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I haven't done that job actually in a while now, and I don't know when I'm going to be going back to it. I took this job at Moscow Moto, and it's kind of been my main thing.
right on.
And probably for the next 4 months, 5 months. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you on paternity leave, or is that a different way to
I'm
say
on
quarantine?
I'm on Corona leave. I am on FMLA, and I am on every kind of. This is weird. Like there's like all these different buckets of leave, and I had like 4 months of vacation time, and then like 2 weeks of Rona time, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time. I see Robbie Johnson has a question. What did life look like at home during that? Uh, it sucked. There's just yeah. I don't know. Imagine being sick for a long time. The nice thing is that I'm stuck at home. And my wife and kid are here with me, and we I started sleeping in a separate bedroom, but there was really no way for them to not get it, and they like just given our proximity, and both of them were fine. So they either had it maybe like back in February, or they like have it now and are that like asymptomatic carrier, or as I call it, the typhoid Marys of this household, just bringing that illness and spreading it around. But yeah, so I have some exciting prints I want to show you guys that I've been working on. Everything 3D prints. Everything kind of took a hold, like went on hold when I got sick. So I'm not finished with the actual prints yet, but I think I finished with the design. But hold on one sec. Let me grab this box. So much plastic. So I started designing in what's it called? Fusion. And then I started printing little tiny screens just so I could see what they looked like.
So cute.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like Barbie's Dakar bike. It's really,
Is that because it takes a long time to print full size?
yes, it's a long time and like lots of material too.
Yeah.
I've gone through several spools already. Yeah, and like I don't, 3D printing, like I'm new to it as well, so that's a little bit of an art as well, like getting all the settings right and trying to figure out when a print fails, what happened. Like one time I let a print go overnight and came back out in the morning and it had failed, but the printer doesn't know when it fails, so it just keeps trying to print, and it's just printing, it's just extruding plastic into the air, and basically end up with like a plate of spaghetti at the end of it.
So it's like a yarn almost.
Yeah.
It's
PLA or I'm using PETG for some of it.
okay.
But it comes on a spool and then it gets pushed through this extruder, and the extruder is hot, so it melts the plastic, and then it just squeezes it out like really fine icing on a cake, and it builds up the layers that way. So it was really helpful to like print small versions first, so I could sort of see like, oh, like that bend needs to be stronger, or those lines don't connect. And then I started printing bigger ones, and then I was like, screw that. I'm going to go and print like a full size. And this was the first one I did. You could see I had to break it into 4 parts because it was too big to fit on the printer. This is just like prototype. This isn't functional. I think it would just come apart if I actually put it on the bike. But this was a good first step, because then I was like, okay, my scaling's off because this is way bigger than I wanted it to be. So then I did a couple more. I got it down to the size I like. This time it was only 2 pieces. Making noise. And then I switched materials. So this is PETG. I could actually make something like a prototype that is functional. And then
And does that come from just swapping out the material that you're using? It's the same printer?
Yeah, you just change the spool. Yeah, that. There's PLA, PETG. You can print in ABS, nylon. I'm still looking for like, chocolate. I think that would be fun.
Edible.
Yeah. So then started working on the side panels, and got to, it's probably hard to see, but got to this point here. So this, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Sorry. This shape interfaces with the side panels.
Put yourself behind the shield. You got to be like, and this is where I go.
I don't do a lot of props. I'm not into like prop comedy.
Not a prop guy.
Yeah.
So you got the forks come down here.
Yeah. Imagine that. So I'm so excited to finish this and throw it on the bike. And I think ultimately I'm going to get a mold made of this and get this screen made for real out of polycarbonate. So if you're watching out there and you want one of these, just let me know when I go to make them.
All you hussy riders out there.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of us.
Jimmy Lewis fucking loves his Husaberg.
Oh, he rides one. I didn't know. That's cool.
He's got like one special lady he keeps off to the side, and like it's his like personal. Yeah. A couple of people like that. I think you guys are all pretty weird. The Husaberg riders.
Definitely.
You're like a subsection within a subsection of like. You guys are right there next to the beta riders. Like the beta rider, they're off to the side. Yeah.
I had the beta too, and up until yesterday. So mine. So Spencer? So I know, Chris, you've got currently a 640, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's. I mean, it's a KTM, so it's like a name brand, but like the model of the bike is pretty obscure at this point.
Yep.
Spencer,
yeah, I got it purely for the looks, for sure.
Really?
Sweet looking.
I don't know that. I never spent that much time around a 640, and then I went on that trip with Chris after the KTM rally, and now all winter I've been looking for a 640 to buy off ADV Rider, because you can actually find for
good.
Like,
they're great. Yeah, they're great bikes, and you can get it for like $3,000.
Yeah, and then I think it would be a great buddy bike, to like have in the garage. And then I'm still affiliated with KTM Twins, so it's easy for me to get OEM parts and stuff. So yeah, I think it would be a really fun project.
Here's a question I've been dying to ask you, Spencer. So you're on a 790 right now. That's like your main squeeze. But I know you were like touring around on that Ultimate 690 build a few years back, and
Mhm.
and you know I'm curious for myself, like if I go to a bigger displacement for something that can do a little more like cross state lines kind of touring. Um, how do you compare those two? You know, I know one's a twin, obviously, so it's got that smoother power to it. But like, do you have a favorite between those two?
Yeah, the 790. The 790 fixed all the issues that I felt like I had with the 690.
Really?
690 is a great, like, it's sort of like a dirt bike. It's okay for that. It's sort of okay as an adventure bike. But you've got to do so much to a 690 to make it like an adventure bike, you know. Mainly the fuel, you know, because with its stock tank, it's kind of useless for even like BDR type stuff.
Yeah.
So the 790 really alleviated that. It's got a huge tank, but it's also got a much better turning radius, a much better center of gravity, shorter for me, which is great, and the ergos are just more comfortable. 690 you sit on top of, and you feel like you're on a dirt bike, and a 790 you are sitting in, sort of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And yeah, and then every time you got on the pavement on a 690, every time I got on the pavement on a 690, you kind of cringe. And those 100-mile sections between like stuff on the road just sucks. There's no way for it not to suck. And the 790, I don't feel like that at all. You know.
Cool. How do they compare off road?
You can get into a lot more trouble on the 790. That's the way I would describe it. And I have. Chris has seen me do dumb shit. And it's just like the 790 spools up faster. It's got more power. Yeah. So I would just say that the times, yeah, I've gotten into a lot of trouble off road because of it's spooling up faster and having more power. Whereas the 690 is better for picking your way through like really rocky stuff. But other than that, I would say I would prefer the 790 if I just quit crashing the friggin' thing.
So having ridden both, like, do you feel like when you're riding it, is there a big difference in weight? Do you feel the weight difference between the two? Because I think, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but the 790 is like 100 pounds heavier, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. The problem that I had is I went from the 1090, or I went 690, 1090, 790.
Okay.
So my frame of reference is more like going from the 1090 to the 790. And that feels, the weight difference there is, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but the way that it feels off-road, because the 1090 has the tank, it's like way up top, you know?
Right.
So that weight just feels like you're kind of holding a bowling ball between your knees, sort of. Where the 790, the weight's like way down low, and the turning radius is way different as well. So, yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. I would take my 790 anywhere that I took a 690, but that's also hard to say because my riding ability has changed in that time frame as well.
Sure. Yeah. You've gotten much worse, I imagine.
Yes. Much better at getting myself into trouble.
Man. I feel like I've gotten worse this year, but I can't really measure it because I've hardly ridden at all. I rode once in January, and then I had to take like a 6-week break to heal after that ride. And then everything's sort of shut down right now, and then I've been sick, so I'm jonesing.
Let's hear about your crash.
Do you want to?
All I know is I was only able to watch the video clip once. and the noise that it made when you like hit the ground, and then the noise that you made me quit my cringe, and my stomach kind of came up, and I haven't been able to watch it again since.
Yeah.
I would be more curious if you've learned anything from that crash, or if it's just that some knowledge that you can impart upon us. Other than that, I've had plenty of crashes. I don't necessarily need to hear how much pain you were in, but like,
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I mean, okay, so the pain was real, but like if you've broken a bone before or been injured to the point that you needed to go to the ER, it's sort of like your body figures out how to deal with it. I think the worst. Made so many mistakes, like leading up to it, and then. So like probably the biggest dumbest thing was that I pulled my emergency transponder out after that crash, and I didn't really know how bad I was hurt yet. I didn't know. I figured I'd broken a rib. Didn't know that it was actually 8 ribs. Figured I'd broken 1 rib, but also like didn't know if the pain level was going to start dropping in the next 20 minutes or if it was going to get worse. So I pulled my DeLorme SE or whatever it is out, and I was going to message my wife and just say, here's where I am. Here's what happened. Stay tuned. And I held the power button.
Don't touch that dial.
And nothing happened. And I'm like, I already knew like deep down that I had left it on and that it was the battery was completely dead. So I was like, well, okay, you did this to yourself. You didn't charge it, and like you came out here and got a little too. I was going a little too fast, probably. That was part of it as well. Like in my mind, I was like, I was in the zone, and I'm thinking like, wow, I'm in the zone right now. Yeah, like I was moving around and coming down this downhill and simply lost my balance. It was just sort of like, if you were like walking on a balance beam or something and just sort of like toppled. And so mistake, well, I guess that was mistake number 2. One of the mistakes would be not having my emergency beacon charged, which I will never make that mistake again. The other mistake, and I haven't really talked about this online because I feel so stupid, I think is the word I'm looking for. But my goal that day was to go out to this ridgeline and film some drone stuff, do some like follow cam stuff with the drone. And so I think I have that backpack around here somewhere. I have a sling bag, drone on my back. Drone has 3 lithium batteries they're like probably a half pound each. They're solid. They don't compress at all. And I don't know for sure because I haven't been back to the spot where I crashed, but I wouldn't be surprised if what caused so much damage was that backpack just pile driving into my spine and displacing all of those ribs back there. So dumb move. If you're watching this, don't put heavy stuff in your backpack because you might fall on your back. And I thought that even when I was leaving the van, I'm like, no, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to I'll keep it chill. It'll be fine. Spoiler.
Something to think about for sure.
Fine.
I carry all my tools on my back, so that's pretty.
Are you
that could be pretty bad. I've had backpacks and then 2 of the vests. I've had the Climb vest and I use the Wolf vest now, made by Answer Off Road.
Yeah, I think.
And it's pretty low. I mean, it's like it's almost like a hip pack at that point. It's right above your butt, right on the hip, so it's not too bad. But I also going right up the sides, like up the sides are like those MSR gas cans too when I'm on the smaller bike. full of two-stroke gas, and those are super
Okay.
firm. So
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So imagine being broken on either side and covered in fuel at the same time.
It's not what you're looking for.
Oh,
I was like that. I just had the worst wreck that I had off road on a bike was when I was just being chill and the same thing. We just left camp in the morning in Death Valley, and I was just kind of getting into the groove, and it was on an old railroad grade, and I was like, I'm just taking it easy, listening to tunes and shit, and man, I just yard sailed, like fucking flew through the air. The bike flipped behind me. It was like, yeah, yeah. So I can relate to that whole. We're just gonna take it easy, you know.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get in the zone, and that personal fable starts to build a little bit, and I've gotten myself into some really stupid, dangerous situations, and somehow managed to get out of them. And there's a little bit of like, I'll figure it out. I'm probably invincible, so what's to worry about? So I
Nothing's
don't know.
proven me wrong since.
Yeah, no, it's true. So yeah, I mean, this has definitely caused me to rethink my practice of riding alone all the time, which I love to do, and I'll probably still do to some degree, but I think that I really got to put some limits on the difficult terrain, like tackling that by myself. If I had a buddy there, it would have been so much easier. Like they could have lifted the bike, I could have limped my way back to the van. Instead, what I had to do, I sat there for about 30 minutes trying to lift the bike. It was just tipped over. I just couldn't lift it up. The pain was too much. This is January. Thankfully, it was relatively warm. The sun was shining. I was close to an access road, and so I started walking. And I'm like I'm in a place I'd not been before. I'm looking at my map on my phone. There's no cell service. And I'm like, okay, I think that's probably 2 hours to the highway. And I just start walking and like doing little mantras to myself. Because like, I didn't know the extent of my injuries. I knew that, the pain was close to my spine. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to walk and maybe I'll bleed out on the way and maybe I'll make it to the highway. We'll see. And eventually some like truck, this logger dude, he was probably logging illegally or something back there because he was super suspicious looking. And I was basically like, okay,
was he in a logging truck or a pickup truck?
No,
that's
he's in a pickup.
Usually tell. Oh, okay.
He was.
Did he have all of his teeth? Did he have all of his teeth?
Did he have a vest on, like a reflective vest and a hard hat and all that stuff?
He could have been like a featured extra on Tiger King, I think.
I still haven't watched that. I gotta watch that.
Please. That is your homework for the week, Chris.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I also don't want to completely ignore the chat, because I'm very thankful to have these people here. And Moscow Moto has a question about the vests, and that is, why do people even wear them? Do you guys ever wear vests?
I
don't think you really wear vests, Spencer, right? I see you just use bags.
Yeah, and the only reason there really is I don't do a ton of dedicated dirt bike stuff, and by that I mean I don't do like any of it, and I need to carry a camera, and I always carry a camera on my back, so that's pretty much the only reason I don't. I'm interested in the Wolf one. I mean, I've ridden with quite a few people that have it, and it looks cool, and it keeps the weight in place. But also, I carry so much shit on me. Like, I generally try to keep anything that's not camera equipment, like, on my bike. So my tools and that kind of shit,
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, for me, it's like it's convenience mostly. It's just all like when I get off the bike, I have everything, and I don't have to like take valuables out of my bag or anything like that. And then the other part of it too is I always have water, so I have to carry a hydration pack somewhere, and I haven't found a good way to do that on the bike and still be able to like drink water while I'm riding. So if I have like a backpack on anyway, I might as well put my other stuff in it, I guess, is my rationale. But
Obviously, you haven't tried the Moscow Moto Nomad tank bag.
I haven't
with the
tried it,
hydration
no.
bladder.
but I also wonder. I've never used a tank bag. Do you notice that when you're standing up and like riding in
Well,
gnarly
the
stuff? I
Nomad,
would imagine you would,
the
right?
Nomad is low, and that's the thing. You don't want a tall tank bag because it gets all up in your business when you're trying
Right.
to. So yeah, I mean, I definitely know somebody that might be able to find you a Nomad to like try out on your 640 or whatever. But because of its low profile, it's really not that bad because it's low and long. But I tried it for the first time this winter with the hydration bladder in that bag, and it like blew my mind. I was like, oh man, I don't have to carry this shit on my back. Like, it's pretty cool.
What about cargo pants, guys? Can we bring those back?
Dude,
A
I would
lot
do
of
it.
people-
I'm wearing cargo pants right now.
All up and down? All up and down? What do you have things in your pockets, Chris? What do you have?
Dude,
What
I
do you
got so
got
much
there?
stuff. Yeah, I
Wheel
got so much
pads,
stuff. I
crayons.
have earbuds things.
Oh,
They've
he's
been
not
blacked out.
Okay.
Wallets, very large.
Yes.
Okay.
Phone,
This is awesome.
keys.
What is that? Men in tights when they're like no blades, no bows, leave your weapons here, and they're like unloading all the different. This is
Yeah.
like Chris, like he's
Yeah.
gonna bring out like a little mace
This
thing.
This is like
I-
the unboxing.
I've got this
of
little. I've
Chris.
got like this chapstick pocket. It's actually
Of
really
course
hard
you
to get the
do.
chapstick out of. But here it is, chapstick pocket.
There it is.
And actually,
Good.
this
Oh, is that
is
Burt's
this
Bees?
is this is no. This is like Alba Botanica SPF 25.
Oh,
I got this with Spencer. Actually, it was at that little store that we went to right outside the Alpine Loop. That was a long time ago, and I still have this. So I don't use a lot of chapstick.
Oh yeah, in like Lake City or whatever. I think
Yeah.
that town's called Lake City. Oh my god! So I gotta
Earplugs
talk
as well.
about something, guys. We gotta cover some ground here. Phantom Lake. Who's seen Phantom Lake?
isn't
Both
that
your
just
guys. Both your
myth?
guys' homework. You gotta go on Amazon Prime. You gotta watch Phantom Lake. Okay.
oh,
It's. And I'm gonna warn you right now. It's pretty heavy-handed with the God stuff. It's pretty much all about God, actually. But if
okay.
you look past that, there is an eccentric preacher who rides adventure motorcycles, and he decides to take a bunch of people that have never ridden motorcycles but are very devoted to God and make them ride in Colorado through the Alpine Loop and shit. And it's fucking hilarious. Well, one, because I had a similar concept for a project that I did like 5 years ago, but also because it just goes so terribly. And this guy is an asshat, and he is like mean to these people, and like. But it was all the stuff that Chris and I rode, and I think you rode the Alpine Loop while you were out in Colorado too, right,
Oh,
Jesse?
yeah, it was incredible. I can't wait to go back.
I don't know. Me too. But that was kind of cool about this is it showed all of that stuff that we rode, so you could kind of compare. Like, okay, I remember riding that exact section, and like these guys are spending like a half a day trying to get up stuff.
Is this like that one
uh,
movie, that A Story Worth Living?
It's very close.
It
And
sounds
it
like it's
really
similar.
drives
Didn't they do the Alpine Loop as well?
I probably I
saw that in the theater.
Yeah, I did too. I remember seeing that, and I remember reading reviews afterwards. And the one that sticks with me is the guy that said he would rather drink a Touratech pannier full of piss than watch that movie again. And it is
That's bad.
that is so fitting. But I saw this thing, and it's like a train wreck. I made Robbie watch some of it, and he was like live texting me of like, this guy's an asset.
Robbie's here saying, "Don't watch it."
No, everybody must watch it. This is like my thing, and it's so terrible. But my problem is, why does everybody got to turn adventure writing about God? Like, it's just, I feel very strongly that nobody has done our style of adventure writing justice in this. Like, I don't know. If only we knew like some video guys or like somebody that knew something about like the stuff of how these things fall into place.
I think I think Chris is the guy. Look at that shallow depth of field over there.
Oh,
Look at that.
Well,
I would like to also
Jesse
say
can
for the
film it,
record
and
that
I'll
I
give him
tried-
this lens.
I'd like to say that I tried to fix my my video. I tried to get all professional-ish, and you can't buy any really web streaming equipment right now because all of the churches bought up all of the stuff for Easter because they were all live streaming. So like every church in America bought up all that shit. So I can't do it.
It's all back ordered.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, maybe just a little key light there, Spencer. And a little key light and maybe a little, I don't know, little highlights on your posters behind you.
I'm thinking of moving it out to the garage, actually. I think you've inspired me with your garage. It looks good.
There's the bike all torn apart right there.
Yeah.
Waiting for its gas tank to come back on. Gregor Halenda. Yes, cargo pants always. You got a cargo buddy there, Chris.
Woohoo!
You guys could get together and compare contents of your cargo pants.
I highly
Just gonna
recommend
stop.
the cargo pants made by Fall Raven and
Ah.
all of their other
Oh, that's a
clothing.
cool brand. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys watched
I've always
Gregor's-
been afraid to say that brand.
Oh,
out
I
loud.
could have said it completely wrong, but I just, yeah.
There's a silent J.
It's got lots of special characters I don't know how to say. But if you ignore those, it is pronounced as Fall Raven.
I was going to say, Gregor's got a YouTube channel where he's chronicled the build of his XR100 flat tracker, which is quite a fun watch, if you ask me. Something to check out. Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I've been watching Instagram stories. That's how I've been digesting it.
Yeah. It's sort of like the long version, sort of like Instagram story based, like all together in episode form. I know because I helped edit it together, and it's super fun. Sort of like one of the last fun things that the motorcycle community got to do here in the Pacific Northwest. The one moto show before we all quarantined ourselves. So technically, the trails are open, but the staging areas are closed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is if you own a dual sport, this is your time.
I thought about that.
Shine.
I went to Walker Valley, which is up here just north of me, and all the staging areas are closed. But I mean, you still go there, and then there's all the lowland trails that are like right there. Like I could ride on, but I was riding by myself, and I was like, I'm gonna be the asshat that like launches and breaks my leg or something. Then I'm gonna have to like, people are gonna be like, why were you out in lockdown? And this isn't essential. You're an asshat, and I'm like, yeah, I ain't an asshat.
Yeah, it's not a good time to have to go to the hospital. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a baby in the hospital, like at this. It was wild. Like we were getting our temperatures taken, like going into the hospital, and like leading up to it, my wife was all like worried. In New York, they're not even let your spouse like in the room with you, so you got to like, go it alone, like old like 60s style or whatever. And
you're in the hallway smoking a cigar.
Yeah, just yeah. They're like, sir, with respiratory issues, please don't smoke in here. And I'm like, fuck off. But yeah, no, going to the hospital right now is terrible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I've seen all the videos of the people in like the hazmat suits, and do you feel like people treated you like super weird, or were they understanding?
No, I felt bad. Like I'd done several chest X-rays before going to the ER, so I had to go to another hospital to get those done. And I wore the face mask. And the second time I went, I told people, I'm like, hey, I'm confirmed positive. Just want to let you know. And basically, they were like, we have no choice. We have to see you. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I was trying to like I didn't sit down in any of the chairs. I, kept my hands in my pockets. Like I didn't touch anything. But man, like people talk about healthcare workers being the heroes right now, and they are. I mean, they're like putting themselves in danger. Like I went and had a chest X-ray, and someone came up and positioned me, where I needed to be, and she was wearing the face mask and all that, but still, like, being around that, it's where all the sick people are, right? You work in a hospital, that's where all the sick people are. So, yeah, hats off to the people that are out there on the front lines. I actually, going back to the 3D printer thing, I started printing face masks. I've got a friend in Bend that is a nurse practitioner, and they don't have any, like the full face shield. I found a file online that I could just print off like the top part, and then you 3-hole punch like clear transparency film and stick it on. So I've been using my printer to print off face masks for people. And
Nice.
yeah, it's great. They have to disinfect them when they get them because it's coming from me. But like,
that's a good point.
but just, maybe a little extra bleach on the outside of those when you get them. But yeah. So
These were meant to protect us.
Yes.
Does that mean you can make a motorcycle visor too? Is there a suitable material that you can purchase for your machine?
You mean
Probably
clear?
not, right? Well, just strong enough too, because you don't want it to explode in your face, right? It's got to be shatterproof.
That would be less than ideal, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be that shatterproof material.
There's, I mean, PETG is sort of clear. That's kind of like this thing. You can see a lot of the layer lines in it. I definitely wouldn't want to ride down the highway like this. So I don't know that you could print anything that's perfectly clear. But great for building the shape and then making the shape out of Lexan or what's that other stuff? Plexiglass, yeah. The non-shatter stuff. So I'm curious, guys. When things are looking up for the country and when things are a little less locked down, are there like rides you guys are jonesing to do, like areas you're excited to ride next?
I'm excited for the ADV Real World in KTM Rally again this year. I've already just started telling people that they're going to be there. Like, you guys are both going to be there. I don't really care what you have to say about it. We're going to rent a house. It's going to be rad. Robbie will be there. We'll make him scout all the routes and figure everything out. And yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to eat pizza.
We should put like a secret code or something at this point on the chat or something. Like, if you have this code and you're watching this stream, you can join this exclusive club, get like low rates on betting and food and whatnot.
Yeah,
for being a subscriber to Bubbles and Bikes.
Yeah.
Well, you can make up a URL right now and buy it later.
Yeah, there you go. I bet.
I don't know. I'm less. I want riding to be acceptable again, really, and basically the only thing that's holding me back right now is the snow. I wish the snow would melt, and then I'd be doing day rides in the Cascades and stuff. So yeah. I don't know. When do you get your bike back, Chris?
Whenever. It's just sitting there. So I just got to go pick it up. It's in Idaho. So, yeah. Right now, the KTM Rally is the next thing on my radar. It was going to be that other trip, with South Africa trip, but I was going to rent a bike for that. Right. And I still am going to do that, but I have to wait until this settles before rescheduling that thing. But yeah, I just got. Where is the rally this year again? I keep forgetting. It's not where it was last year.
In Idaho.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's in Idaho, so the bike's already there. Some
What
boys
if we
that
got to
ride.
do a trip before then? What if we got to go ride in like Eastern Oregon with Jesse? Like,
Well, then I'd have to pick it up on the way. I'd have to go through Idaho.
that's true.
That
That's true.
works.
Damn you and using the logic in a map.
But you have a two-stroke as well, right, Chris?
Yep.
You still
Yeah,
have that?
the Yamaha YZ 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
How
still
do you
have
like
that.
it?
It's great. It's
Yeah.
very inexpensive, super lightweight, and the only thing I did to it was put a Electron on carburetor.
Mhm.
Because the elevation here is absolutely insane. I mean, it goes like
Right.
super high and then super low. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been pretty easy. Haven't done anything to it other than put gas in it and change the transmission oil once.
Mhm. That segues nicely into Gregor's question. Chris, can you compare the riding in Colorado to Oregon? So you used to live here. We
Oh
met
yeah,
here in Portland, and then you're like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna abandon everybody, all my riding buddies in Portland, and move to. Well, let's see. You went to Bay Area, but now you're in Colorado, right?
yeah. I think so. I really like both, but I think if I'm on a smaller bike, I actually prefer Oregon a lot, especially Tillamook. The trails are so beautiful. I mean, they're gnarly, but they're like very beautiful. And I haven't found any of that here yet, like super dense forest with all that green and all the ferns and stuff. The lighting, there's always fog there. Um, so I miss that. But what I like about Colorado is for big bikes. There you can
Hmm.
go for a long time on gravel roads and mountain roads. There's a lot of exposure on some of them. They get really rocky and they'll have like big drop offs on the side. But I feel like it's much easier to do like a multi-day big bike trip in Colorado, at least from Denver. Everything's pretty accessible. Basically, just go west, and then you can go
Yeah.
forever. You can go all around the state, and then you can go down even into Utah if you want. I mean, you could just literally go forever. And but for the small bike, I still haven't found a place near where I live anyway, within like 4 hours. That's as cool as Tillamook.
Right.
Tillamook was it's a favorite place I've ever ridden for sure.
So when you lived here, you were on the west side, right? So you were a little closer to Tillamook.
I was like 40, I think 30 to 40 minutes from there.
Okay.
And then there's
Yeah.
that Chevron that has the whatever gas, the race gas on the
Uh-huh.
way too, so you could just stop
Uh-huh.
and get gas on the way. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, so riding Colorado last summer, first time I'd ever ridden out there. It was epic. Alpine Loop, like a lot of these, Black Bear Pass, all these sort of like well-known name brand sort of routes. They are popular for a reason, and they are incredibly beautiful. I didn't really go looking for a ton of single track because I was on the big bike. Um, but yeah, it seems like Colorado has just miles and miles of opportunity for like adventure riding, dual sport riding with views that are just unparalleled anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean
So
there's definitely good single track here. Definitely.
Mhm.
I just haven't found it yet. And compared to where I was, like in Oregon, I felt much more. Maybe because I was there longer, maybe just because I was more involved in general. But I felt much more connected with people riding bikes there. So it's much
Yeah.
easier to find good stuff because I always am like meeting up with new people and we're like going to ride somewhere new. Have not found that in Colorado yet. So yeah, I know that once I find a group here and start riding, that it'll probably all change. I'll find all the good spots, but I just haven't found them yet here.
Yeah.
Lots of big bike stuff I found though. It's pretty easy. It's very well
Yeah.
mapped.
Yeah. What about you, Spencer? Like, do you have a favorite area from your home that you like to hit if you've got like an afternoon?
Yeah, I like going out where they have the Tour Tech Rally or where they have had the Tour Tech Rally out by Leavenworth, Washington. I don't know if you've been out there, but in the Cascades there's a lot of cool spots that you can go to. It's like basically to get to a staging area, it's like an hour and a half from my house. And depending, I can go off pavement most of the way there.
Cool.
So yeah, I like that a lot. It's just this snow this year is probably going to keep us out of there until maybe July.
Oh wow!
Which is same with Colorado, right? I mean, that a lot of that stuff snowed in way into July, right?
Oh yeah, there was an avalanche that went across right, I think south of Animas Forks, and I've got a photo of it up on my feed. But there was like 30-foot walls of snow that they had actually cut through. Someone had brought one of those, snow plows up there and cut through. But that was in September. Like it was still like 30 feet high. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the best places I've ridden so far around here is up by Steamboat Springs, which is amazing. I mean, it's just like a very open, like meadowy type thing. There's lots of trails there, and that has a map as well. And I just saw Moscow Moto mention Crested Butte area, which has like the Timberline Trail, and that's probably one of the longer ones in that area. But they've got a bunch of single track there too. I have ridden there, and it's nice. But again, just by myself, so I don't take nearly as many risks, and I don't try a lot of the like longer or gnarlier trails when I'm by myself. So yeah, I really just gotta it's hard working from home too, right? Like meeting people that live in this area, and most of my connections on like social media are all in Pacific Northwest as well. So yeah,
that's it, Chris. I'm shipping my bike in this summer. We're gonna have to go on an ADV ride.
Let's do it. Great. Yep.
I'm game.
Star Trail. Ash says Star Trail. That's in Crested Butte, I think. I rode. I think I was on that trail last summer when I was out there. I hit Crested Butte area, and it's really cool. They had an app, like the trails themselves. I don't know who puts it out, but you download the app and it's got all the trails on it, and they're all like color coded for difficulty. And then of course it's on your phone, so it like drops a little pin of where you are. It's very cool.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, we are over an hour. Does anyone need to pee?
Wow.
Should we wrap it up?
No, I've been using this.
Gross.
I know that's what all these empty cans are for. My dog is unimpressed.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. This was fun.
Yeah, it was, man. I'm super glad that you're feeling better and you're on the mend. That's a scary deal, and yeah, we got to get a ride together too, Jesse. This summer we I rode your route that you contributed to ADV Weekend. I rode that last year, but yeah, I don't know why I didn't reach out and say, hey, you got to come ride with me. But we should do that this year.
That'd be rad. Yeah. I think that one's mapped from one brewery in Portland to another brewery in Bend.
Right.
Just sort of bookending.
Moscow Moto says, show us your dog, Spencer.
Hudson, come here. He's not going to get up on my lap because he thinks he's in trouble. Come here. Come on. Hey, come on, bro. Be a bro. Hudson. He's not cooperating.
There he is.
He's like, I think I'm in trouble. Yeah. He's like, I was sleeping. You woke me up for this shit.
I forgot, but I brought the bubbles to Bubbles and Bikes. Well, that should be the opener for.
Yeah, you should have did that in the beginning.
Yeah,
would have been way better. Would have been way better, Jesse.
So I'm excited to hear what topics you guys talk about next week. I've got number 1 and number 2 ideas, and hopefully you tackle those.
Good.
Call it
send us your guest list as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep,
I will.
you're number
for
one
sure.
and number two on that list.
Cool.
All right, take care.
Cool,
Bye.
guys. Good to see you.